In the era of red dots on pistols, the first question that ever comes to my mind when thinking about putting a red dot on my pistol is it optics ready or not? So today we're going to talk about a couple reasons why I think you should either pick milled or an optics ready gun. Plenty of options, plenty to choose from. So we're going to talk about that today on this episode of Manny Things. Welcome back everyone to another episode of Manny Things. Today is going to be a fine, fabulous day. Thank you for checking out the video. I am thankful that you clicked on that button to check this video out because I enjoy making these videos for you, y'all. So today we're going to talk about which kind of gun you should pick. We'll be talking about if you need to get a base gun and get it sent off to get milled, or if you need an optics ready gun, like these. This gun, my G17 with a MOS gun with a CNH plate. This, the stock G17 with the AMF defense cut. These will be some examples. Let's talk about them. So this is not a new topic, guys. This is pretty old, to be honest with you, but I've finally been able to compare a milled gun to an MOS gun of my own. So we're going to talk about some of the pros and cons that I think need to be discussed. First off, it's kind of a negative for milling, and that's going to be you're stuck to that footprint. I mean, you know, right now the SRO, RMR, Hollow Sun 507C footprint is dominating the market right now. So I think it'd be a good thing to get that footprint. That's what I did. So I mean, there's that. You have this awesome footprint. You can throw 3 or 4 different dots with this footprint. On the other hand, if you go with an optics ready model like the MOS or the Core from M&P, you can have modularity and swap it up and not be stuck to that single footprint. You can change, so when the new hotness comes out with its own new footprint, you'll be ready. On the other hand, we have a pro for getting a milled slide. That mill slide means it's going to be precisely cut for your optic. Most milling jobs require that you send in your optic to get with the slide to get milled for exact measurements, and that's a really good thing for tight tolerances. On the other hand, a MOS gun, in what I'm going to pretty much call it, is an optics ready system gun. It's one size fits all. It's one big chunk out of the slide. Then you have to get an adapter plate too. That really isn't the best fit for a gun because it can kind of let a lot of forces upon the slide, from the slide onto the optic, which kind of lays into our next part, is with getting it like professionally milled, you're going to notice that because most optics are rounded, have a radius in the front, you'll see that cut is not a straight cut, it's a radius to go with the optic housing. So you have less forces on those screws to then break them or strip them or have them to come loose, more likely to come loose. On the other hand, like an MOS gun, there is the problem of a bunch of shear forces impacting on the screws because of not super tight tolerances, even though you can only get so close on tolerances with the plate system because you don't have the exact optic there all the time and you're making them in batches. So you know, think about it, guys, there's a lot of shear force on those screws and a lot of other forces applied with the G's of the slide going back and forth. And not having precise cut truly to it, you have a lot of more chances of either the optic dying or screws breaking, and both of those things are not a very good thing in my opinion. Another benefit for having a milled gun is that it can theoretically be deeper in the slide. Depending on what kind of gun you have or what setup of the optic, you can have the optic sunk down low enough into the slide to then have better structure and stability in the gun without compromising either functionality or reliability. And then with the optics ready guns, you're going to more likely be higher in the slide because of how the plate system works. Like the the Core system from M&P is pretty high compared to maybe an MOS or other offerings on the market. Another really big thing for getting a gun milled is that it can be personalized to you. If you send your gun off to get cut for an optic and you can get it milled at the same time, adding slide serrations or fancy Cerakote or laser engraving. I know AMF Defense does a bunch of that stuff in particular. Really no connection to them besides having some friends who are sponsored by the guy. So other than that, no real true relationship with AMF Defense. I can only speak to his work from my own gun. If you go with an optics ready model, you are more likely stuck to that standard unless you really want to get it changed. I know Agency Arms will take an MOS gun and turn it into a phenomenal AOS cut gun where you have a better mounting solution for having better options and get those irons forward if you so desire, like so many people I know do. Depending on pricing right now, I know in time of the pandemic, COVID and all that, gun prices have gone through the roof. It's hard to find firearms. For example, this gun, this G17, I paid $649.99 before tax. It's a lot of money for a damn Glock, guys. But at the current time, you could get an MOS, a G17 MOS for $699. So that's $50 difference. Now you're going to say, well, that's not a lot of money really when you consider it. But in the long run, it can kind of add up. But depending on pricing, guys, if you're adding serrations and whatnot, it makes the price definitely go up higher on a milled gun than a optics ready gun. But it all depends on flavor and taste though too, guys. I can't tell you what to put on your guns, or if you want giant rainbow flaming slides, or if you want the Humble Marksman's logo right on your slide, you can do that. So anyways, there's a lot of different things you can do with your guns, getting them milled, having an optics ready gun. What you're truly getting when you have a milled slide on your gun is the expertise of that mill house. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you have the guys who know how to run the machines, they're very precise, and they put their name on their work. I'm not saying Glock wouldn't cover their MOS plates and their MOS cuts, but the problem is, it's just some cast metal and some screws that they give you. It's not the best designed plating system. Now, this right here is, I had to send my SRO and my slide in to get milled and put on this gun. It was professionally mounted as well, so I didn't have to install it or anything, but they had to prep it, they had to do a bunch of measurements, get it into their CNC machine, cut the slide, recoat it, oil it, and mount the optic back to it. That's why I kind of like to go with a mill gun, guys, because you get their quality and they're gonna stand behind it. So if something happens in your slide and your gun falls off and you followed all the recommended specs and everything, you can go back to them and say, hey, something I don't think is right, and they can make it work and make it right for you. Unlike necessarily getting an OEM gun, you know, Glock really isn't gonna cover all their plates breaking. They're gonna be like, oh well, you can go buy some more, here's the code, go buy some more. I mean, or you're just going to be fed up and you're going to go buy a good plate from like C&H, because they make pretty darn good plates for the MOS optics ready guns. Pretty much anything that's modular days, C&H will make one. If not now, they will in the future. It's not a paid advertisement for C&H, they're just my best example for really good aftermarket plates. And if there's one thing I can say, guys, is vet your mill house. Vet them, vet them, vet them. Just because someone can do you a mill job for $40 doesn't mean that's the best, or you should go with it, to be honest. It's probably a bunch of shit crap. So vet your mill house, talk to people who's gotten their jobs more than once, and honestly, if they're pushing their name out there at all and trying to get business, like C&H, AMF Defense, Agency, any of them who are putting their name out there and putting their product out there for you to see, are places you're going to want to look at. Do not go with Joe Schmo in his garage with a milling machine. He has no idea what he's doing. He might know how to machine something, but he doesn't really know how to mill an optic to a gun. Like ATEI has been the biggest name I know of getting a gun milled. Unfortunately, their lead times are ridiculously long, but it means they probably have a very good product and they're very busy. And that's another thing. Depending on lead times and how big their shop is, you can get some things done. So like I said, guys, ask around, vet. It's just like vetting an instructor. Ask students. Ask people who are customers of these guys. Don't just take the internet's word for it. The internet is a crappy place. If they've got pictures, get it. If you've got a friend with one of their cuts, ask if they'll take their optic off. I mean, I wouldn't be hesitant to. If I was going to sink a lot of money in my slide getting cut up and hacked for what I want, I would probably, for damn sure, make sure I saw a slide in person. There you have it, guys. There are plenty of reasons why I think you should pick either a milled option or an optics ready system with an upgraded plate. I can't recommend it enough, guys. Do your research and get informed. But we're not getting to work because that's not here. But we're going to get out and do the things, and I'll see you on the next one.